Hi, I'm Liesa Euton, and I am the Director of the Middle East Caribbean for EHP International, and I'm delighted to be on the Prosperity Show. And with me, you're going to learn many things, but firstly, communication style, how to work with your clients and your staff, and also how to work with the mind and get everything you want.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Online Prosperity Show. I'm your host, Prosper Taruvinga, and today we're in for a treat. And I don't say that lightly. Liesa, how are you doing today?
I am so happy to be with you. Thank you for having me on your show.
Well, the pleasure is all mine. Now, Liesa, you're going to have to excuse me. I'm shaking in my little boots right now. I'm in front of royalty. I'm in front of celebrity. I'm in front of one of the greatest humans I've ever had the opportunity to sit down with. And you've graced me with your presence today. So if I'm a little bit shaky or if I'm a little bit nervous, please bear with me. It's not every day that we get special guests like you on the Online Prosperity Show. Yeah?
You're so silly. I'm shaking to be with you. And thank you for having me. I'm grateful. I'm so grateful.
Great stuff. For those that are wondering, why is Prosper fanboying on Liesa? Well, let me tell you something. Our guest, Liesa Euton, is a powerhouse with over 23 years of experience in hospitality and training. So from running the Sea Palace Resort to being a trailblazer in the Middle East, Liesa has been a game changer in every role that she's taken on. Now, here's a bit of a fun fact. She's a huge fan of Turkish TV and even appeared on Housewives of Dubai. So that's the reason why I brought in my book so she can sign an autograph already for me. And I can't wait till the end of this show to actually take a selfie with her. Now, actually, you heard that right. So if you want to learn how to lead with passion, create a competitive edge for your business, or just need some good old inspiration, I think you're in the right place today on the Online Prosperity Show. Now, Liesa, I could go on and on. Like I told you, I'm already nervous. And you've got such an impressive journey in the hospitality industry. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what attracted you to this field.
Well, to be honest with you, it's so funny. I actually didn't know I wanted to be in hospitality. You know, my mom, we have 9 doctors in our family. My mom also being in medicine. And, you know, when you're the smart child, you know, your parents always say, she's going to be a doctor. She's going to be a doctor. So, yeah, I went to, got into a 7-year biomedical program. And after the first 6 months, you know, you take prerequisites for your medical career. And one was psychology. I fell in love with it. I loved it. And I had to go home very begrudgingly and tell my Caribbean parents that I don't want to be in medicine. I want to be in psychology. I was so nervous because, you know, my Caribbean parents are strict. And I was so surprised. My mom said, okay. I was like, whew, that's a really, yes. I was like, oh, thank you, Lord. Anyway, so I pursued a career in psychology. I absolutely loved it. And at the same time, I had a knack from a little child of doing decorating, interior design. So I went back for, actually, let me finish with the psychology. I went to psychology, and then I went to Adelphi University after Brooklyn College for my master's. And one of the topics I took for my thesis was in domestic violence. And how it works in the court system. And it's funny, I'm going to come back to that, how God always puts you back to your plan in life of where you're supposed to be. So I did that. And then at the same time, I went on to get my interior design degree from Sheffield School of Interior Design, which has now been renamed. And then I also went on and I went to Cornell. So then I got my hotel and restaurant degree. And then I decided at the age of 24 that I was going to move to St. Martin. Now, St. Martin, if anyone knows, we're half French and we're half Dutch. We're the smallest landmass in the world that has 2 countries. We're only 36 square miles. It's a dot in the Caribbean. If you go on YouTube, by the way, later, and you type in the abbreviation for St. Martin is SXM. And that's the airport abbreviation, and then type next to it Morgan Freeman, and you will see a beautiful 20-minute piece that he did on St. Martin. I've actually even picked him up on the road. He was walking one day and I saw him from the back. I said, that looks like Morgan Freeman. I pull up, I said, stop the car, and I bend down, roll down the window. Mr. Freeman? He said, yes, dear. I said, there's nothing on this street. I was going to the meat wholesaler because I owned restaurants, and I had to get lamb chops until the shipment came in because we're on an island. I said, do you need a ride somewhere? And he said, yes, dear. So he got in the car, so tall. I said, are you enjoying St. Martin? He said, yes. I said, would you be going at the end of the street? There's a marina. That's where I'm going, dear. And we just had a nice little talk, and I let him out. He was there maybe 4 minutes in my car, but I gave him a ride, and he does the piece on YouTube. So it's really nice with his voice. You must, and anyone that's listening to this, they must go. The island is just fantastically French and delightfully Dutch, is the way I like to say it. So continuing from there, I moved to St. Martin, and at the time, I figured, you come young, 24, 25, I'm going to do everything. And at the time, the prime minister said to me, come to my office. Him and my dad went to school together from Aruba. And he said, what are you going to do? And I told him, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And he said, no, you're not. I said, huh? No, you're not. You're going to go sell timeshare. I said, no, me sell timeshare? I have a degree. People selling timeshare, this is, He said, no, you're going to go sell that and you're going to make money because that's what's making money right now on this island. Little did I know God's plan for me was that I had to do that. I did it for 6 months. I learned everything there was to learn about that business. And little did I know that 8-9 years later, I become the president of the Timeshare Association, the first president and the first woman, and have to sit down with the Dutch government to make a law, federal law for timeshare users on timeshare fee. In other words, when people check into a hotel, they pay a hotel tax. But the timeshares weren't paying anything. So I had to sit down and teach the federal government, the Dutch federal government, what timeshare was. And we had to come up with a formula per week because people buy a week. What would be the price? So you see how the universe works. I didn't want to go and do timeshare, but I learned everything, had the top sales right away. My first sale was 1 million and nobody knew me. I was shy to tell anyone that the prime minister sent me, but of course the higher ups knew. And the first sale, whoever makes the first sale goes up at the top. So the first day after, I was there a week, it said, okay, first sale of the day was Liesa, 1 million. And everybody's looking around, who's this Liesa? And I was like, me. But God had his plan, and I had to learn that to not just become the president, but also run one. Sea Palace was a timeshare for almost 18 years. So you see how life goes. You don't realize sometimes when you think something is for the bad, it's for the good. And this is how it goes in the life. So I did that. Grateful. My life in New York before that, my parents are married now 61 years. I did at a very young age, at 19, I decided to go on my own, which is hard because you can't tell a Caribbean girl of a family you're going out on your own. But I decided to make that leap. I worked 3 jobs at the same time. I was working Saturday and Sunday in a local, like a big grocery store, wind up becoming the manager on the weekends, from a grocer bagger to the head cashier to the front end manager to the manager. And then back then, in the 80s, if you work and you're below a certain age, you get double pay on weekends. So I was working opening at 7, closing at midnight. So if you work those hours, that's what, 15 hours, more or less, 16 hours. So they double that. You're getting paid 32 hours and then 2 days, right? So that's 64 hours I was getting paid for. And that money helped my tuition. I also applied for grants because I was living with my grandma because she was close at the time. So I got the grants. And then I also worked for an eye ophthalmologist, one of my mom's colleagues, on Wednesday and Friday. I helped his business grow from 12 patients to 5,000. And he said he wasn't filing the insurance forms. So he said, if you help me file them, I'll give you a percentage. And that money helped my tuition. And then I was traveling from Staten Island to Brooklyn College. So I was getting up at 5:30 to get the 6:30 bus, to get the 7 o'clock ferry boat. This ferry you see on TV, the Staten Island ferry, to Manhattan, to get the train to Brooklyn College. So that was my study time, because I worked every day except Wednesday. And that was my only day except Monday. So that was my only day to study besides on the train, reading and studying on my book. So it was 2 hours coming, 2 hours going. And I would still
Wow.
run at night to the gym. And then the third job, I was doing nails. So if you can see, I was doing nails because in our neighborhood, they didn't have access to public transportation. It was a very nice neighborhood. So I told my mother, I'll do your friend's nails. So I was doing nails. So I had 3 jobs, and that put me through university and graduate school. And then I decided to move to the Caribbean. And then that started the next chapter of my life. So New York, St. Martin, and then now Dubai. And everything has been so gratefully mystical. I'm so grateful. When you think that you're being crushed, I would say God crushes grapes to make good wine, and he crushes olives to make good olive oil, and he crushes good carbon to make a diamond. So when you think that things are not the way you want it, there's a greater plan for you. So I'm so, so grateful for where I am and what I've done and the experiences I've learned. I don't like to say lessons. I like to say experiences, because that's what it is. We're all here to learn the same experiences, but in different ways, right? And it's how we take that in, learn it, and let it go. When you hold on to it, it's not that good sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. And thank you so much for taking us through all of that in your journey. I mean, your life story and your experience have so much weight in and of it. And yes, you are talking about, carbon being crushed into diamonds and things of that
Oof.
nature. So many people, when they're going through stuff, it's like a seed. If you put it in the ground and put soil on top of it,
Yes.
to the seed's perspective, it feels like it is being buried, but it's actually being
Exactly.
planted.
Exactly.
So
The mustard seed, or just the way the root comes through the cement.
yes,
We have to have faith.
yeah,
And no matter what religion you are, you need to have faith, and you need to know that something is coming. Oh, I can tell you stories. I've felt crushed. And I was telling you earlier that, I slept when I got my first apartment. It was beautiful. It was my
right.
best friend in school, but I slept on the floor, with a blanket and a pillow, because I saw that brass bed down the street in that showroom. And I knew after 4 checks, I would have the money to buy it. So I didn't care. I slept on the floor. And it doesn't matter. Even if today, my island has many, God forbid this year, thank God, no hurricanes yet, because it's hurricane season and we're resilient people. But I had to learn to take off the jewelry and mop and sweep with my staff. When I had restaurants and the windows broke in, and you get there and you start mopping up and you don't care. You put your hair up and you work with your staff. I always tell my staff in the hotel and the restaurants, you don't work for me, you work with me. When it's busy and it's crazy busy, even in the restaurant, I need to have one table turns over 3 times in a night. That's like, and it's table setting. It's a formal fine dining restaurant. And people say, oh, wow, she's a good worker. She's the manager, right? And people say, no, she's the owner. Oh, she's working in the restaurant? Yes, of course. It's the bottom line. I work with my staff. This is how it goes. If you need to mop, I mop too. It doesn't matter. This is, as we say, Caribbean ting. We help our staff and we work. I'm no better than anyone else. We're all here to do what we're meant to do. A friend of mine who's a pilot for Emirates, he said to me the other day, he goes, I feel so tired watching you. You do so much and I do nothing. I said, what? I said, excuse me, I can't fly a plane. I wouldn't even know the altitude. And then I said, you're amazing. And that's what I would tell everybody. Everybody's amazing in their own right. My lady that does my facial or my eyelashes, she's not just the lady that's her passion and she enjoys doing it, and that's her purpose. When something is put in your mind, it's not put there for show. It's put there because that's what you're supposed to be doing. I do so many graduation speeches. And the first thing I always say to the students when they're graduating, are you doing what you want to do or what your parents want you to do? Because if you're meant to be an artist, and that's your purpose, you're going to make money. You will not make money and you will not be happy. Maybe you'll make money being a doctor or a dentist, but you're not going to be happy, So
I
you
like
have to
that.
do what your purpose is supposed to be, My garbage man, I love him. You know why? In St. Martin, he comes down that hill in the rain. I can hear the brakes, coming down, because you know why? When Christmas comes, I respect him so much. I know he likes Black Label. I get the biggest bottle, give him a gallon and say, thank you. And he will make that extra effort to come down for me. Not everybody likes toting garbage and not everybody's going to respect him, but I respect him very much because I'm not going to carry in my car my garbage to the dump. He's coming
Yeah,
for me. I
he does.
respect everybody. You have to. This is what
Mm,
we're all here. We're all part of the puzzle to suit for somebody, for something else.
absolutely. I quite like that. And obviously, when you started, you prefaced with the fact that there's 9 doctors in your family, and you literally went against the grain. And you then answered the next question I would have had: how did family feel about that? But it looks like everything you've always done has not been the stipulated, process and everything else. Why is that?
Well, the other thing is too, I was just thinking when you said that, when I decided to leave home, we have a Caribbean thing, 2 women can't live in the same house. And when you're younger, everything your mom says, it's like, so I just decided, okay, I'm moving with my best friend. I packed up. It was a stormy day and I left my dad a note because I was so afraid to tell anyone. But now I'm so grateful the way they raised me. My mom, besides her being in medicine, how? I don't know. When I look, twins, have twins, in the 60s, and you have to wash we didn't have Pampers back then, nappies. You had to wash everything. Plus, she was selling, I remember jewelry, selling tablecloths, selling, besides doing her emergency room duty and build. How were you able to build 3 homes, 2 apartment buildings? Because in the Caribbean, you can't just buy. How are you able to do that? Plus buy your 2 apartments in Manhattan, New York, plus the house, And I sit and I think they came from nothing. I'm so grateful that they taught us that get in there and get it done, And I lead that to, okay, the Catholic school disciplined, but then I got into a Jewish university, which is 95% Jewish, Reformed and Hasidic Jews, with the curls and the yarmulke. And I learned what we say chutzpah. Chutzpah is, get up and get in there. And if you're going to move out of that chair, Prosper, I'm taking it. So I learned that way. So what happened as a result is I was a worker bee. I like to get the work done. I showed up on time and I followed through. So how did that plan out? It planned out that when I got to St. Martin, I love my island, but I wanted to leave my legacy because that's what my parents taught me. Leave something that people can remember you, and this is your home. My parents started taking me to the Caribbean. I think we were babies, maybe 3 or 4. Then at 10, they started leaving us for the summer with like either my dad's sister or an auntie, and I fell in love with my home. And I knew by 16 that I wanted to make my life there. So that's another reason that I said, okay, I'll do psychology, but then I went to tourism after because I'll need it. The island, my mother always said, you're the only girl. Now I have a sister. I have an adopted sister. We adopted 30 years ago. I was in my 30s and we adopted. She's lovely. She's in her 30s now, but always have something to fall back on. Don't do just one thing. And henceforth, even today, I'm doing 7, 8 things at one time, but I love it. And I don't think my energy or my mom's energy, she's 84 and she's still doing dinner parties and everything. It's amazing. My dad, is an engineer. They're the most switched on people that I know. I told her the other day, I'm going to go to Kish Island to visit a friend. Kish Island is a little island off the coast of Iran, but she's so smart, 84. She says, oh, but be careful. You should be using your Dutch passport because you don't want to use the American passport because when you walk in, then they see the stamp. But she's always thinking, and this is how they are and this is how we are. My younger brother, is on Instagram. He's very popular, Mr. G Money. He's radio, TV, everything. And you'll see him with everybody from Mariah to Cuba Gooding Jr. And it's funny because if people write, gee, I hope they got your autograph, not that he got theirs, but, and one thing we have, and my twin is the same way. He's in production and TV and everything. But honestly, I start my day every day with God. I make a sign across when I get up, say, thank you for another day of life. And I do prayer first, and then I do meditation. Praying is asking, meditating is receiving the answer. A lot of us don't stop to hear the messages and the signals. And I had some crushing moments, even here, in Dubai, even last year, after COVID, but I have to have faith, and you have to have that faith and resilience that it's going to be okay. And that this is just for a short time. The ECG in the hospital.
Yeah.
This is it. Life is up and down, up and down, up and down. And when it's like this, you're dead. It's flatline. That means nothing's happening. So I don't want to live like that. I want to live life to the fullest. I want to enjoy people, enjoy life. I love what we do at EHP. which is, I said earlier, communication style, teaching people how do I communicate, not with just my staff, with my client, with my customer, but with my family, with my relationship, emotional intelligence, communication style, working with people. We tailor make programs for all kinds of companies. We work with people like Deutsche Bank, as I mentioned. We work with people like Bloomberg, hotels, restaurants, Johnson and Johnson, huge companies, to teach them how to communicate and be more efficient. And a lot of companies become super successful. And those are the ones that call us back, and they refer other people to us. And this is the most amazing thing, because we have, oh my God, you can look at the site, which is EHP International. If you see the amount of clientele, it's absolutely, we have Siemens, Siemens that does
telephone
fiber.
communication.
Yes, Swarovski is one of our clients, Sephora, all kinds, Rotana Hotels, so many. There's so many companies that we work with. They love it. Casinos, we even work with casinos, Citibank is one of our clientele also, because why? Everyone needs a tailored package, not the hard skills, the soft skills, how to deal with people, how to connect with people, how to be more successful, teamwork, working in teams. A lot of companies don't realize that. Sales, real estate. It's funny, here in Dubai, we have over 40,000, I think they said now 70,000 real estate agents. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy.
Everybody's trying to sell the Palm Island,
Not even the Palm. That's sold out now. Now we have another island coming called Dubai Island.
Yes.
And there's another island coming, Creek Island also. But the point is, they'll say, oh, I'm moving to Dubai. Why? Oh, well, my friend Prosper is a real estate agent and he's doing so well. So you move here, let's say me, and I'm not doing well. Why? It's the connection, learning how to connect, learning how to sell. We even teach how to upsell. How do you upsell? How do you connect and know that person's personality style? How do you work as a team in your company to get the best possible profits for your company? For instance, hotels like Fairmont, we work with, Holiday Inn, Rotanas. A lot of the HODs, which are the heads of departments, don't want the HR person to train them, because of course they have this thing, we're higher than HR. So that's where we come in. We come in and we work with them. We do a lot of team building skills, a lot of communication style skills, so people understand not just the client, but understand their worker. Because how I speak to you as a manager is not how I speak to Maria, is not how I speak to Joe, because you all have different styles. So you can't speak to everybody the same way, and you can't give ideas and share ideas the same way. Everyone is different from their background, their culture. So you have to be aware of these kinds of things. HSBC, another person that we do well training with. So to give you an idea, these are the type of companies that we work with also.
Absolutely. And what you just showcased is a cross-section of the whole world. So your work impacts every single person, mom, dad, kid, dog, cat out there.
Yes.
Well done. But then the thing is, I feel like you've got an unfair advantage, Liesa, because, based on, your upbringing and everything else that has been surrounding you, you coming from a place where culture is first, respect, and all those things. Some people in the world don't quite have that as a first, reason to exist. So your work sort of spans across different continents, from the Caribbean to the Middle East. Now, has this sort of global perspective actually influenced the way you now approach leadership and training other people?
Yes, good question, because I meant to tell you, we have a team. So we have different people in different areas for EHP. When I say that, for instance, Nick is in Thailand. He lives in Thailand. So he works within that culture and he understands how it works. Raju, who is the CEO of the company and the founder, and even how we connected is very serendipitous. Because everything really in life isn't it? When you sit and think about it, if you receive the messages, you either choose to hear it or let it go. And I choose every time to accept and move forward and surrender, which is very hard for a person like me that likes to control. How we met is even a funny story, which I'll tell you in a minute. But Raj is in Hong Kong. He's been there since he's 5. He founded the company. He used to work with Dale Carnegie years ago. He's also a former Hilton, like myself, a hotel GM. So he also speaks. It's incredible. You will fall on the floor. Clear, direct, like he's from there, Cantonese. So he understands the Chinese community. He understands the culture. And a funny story, when we started doing our trainings in the Caribbean, most of our grocery stores and our Chinese restaurants are Cantonese community. I'm grateful, not Mandarin, because he doesn't speak Mandarin, he speaks Cantonese. So lucky for us. So I got him out the car. He wanted to buy something. And he went in the store and he starts speaking in the Cantonese dialect. But for instance, if you say ah or ah, it means 2 different things. But since he's there since he's 5, the lady almost fell on the floor. She's like, who are you? How do you speak?
You believe it?
Yeah. So believe it or not, it's a segue for us because the older Chinese are not really open to the training, but the younger ones are. So this trip, which will be in the beginning of November, end of October, beginning of November, we are going to sit with, he said, Liesa, you need to sit with the Chinese older people and talk to them. They don't like phone or Zoom. So we already made an appointment for him to sit with them, and we're going to work with them to do training because our island, the only economy we have is tourism. So everyone is either impacted by tourists or in some way indirectly. There's tourism. So we want to support the Chinese community too, and also work with them as EHP. So when you're speaking about different cultures, Raj has the Chinese and the Indian background. So we do train, especially here in Dubai. We have a lot of the Indian community that are the blue collar and lower white collar workers and upper level workers. So we work with them. We also have now Nick, who is also Thai, but Indian also. So he speaks Thai, lives in Thailand. And then myself, you have the Spanish, the Caribbean. So we pretty much have it English, Dutch, French. So we pretty much have it. We have an amazing team that we work with. So we have the ability to pretty much go in any culture because we understand the melting pot of what is communication style in different countries.
Absolutely. And you also have a background in psychology, which really makes it easy for you to step into any room and be able to tell basically maybe how does this sort of knowledge then influence?
That kind of comes with experience, because it's like saying, okay, I have a doctorate degree, but have you worked on people? Like a lot of people that come out of medical school, they're still not that patient savvy. And that's when my mom came in, when she was running all the clinics in the hospital. Actually, when she left and retired, they needed 3 people to replace her 1. Imagine that. She's such a powerhouse and she's really everything. She taught me everything. Her and my dad taught me everything that I am. And, I'm grateful for them. It's funny. Every birthday, I call them and I say, thank you for having me. Thank you so much. Because if these 2 didn't have me, I don't know what I'd look like. I hope God would make me looking okay. But I'm grateful that they taught me their values. And, my dad got a scholarship to Howard back in 1950s, late 50s. And my mom came as a sponsor. She was sponsored because back then you had to sponsor in order to get your green card. I'm talking. And they met at a wedding. They met at a Caribbean wedding. And they fell in love, and the rest is history. They had 2 the first time, and then 1, so it's 3 of us. And then 38 years later, we adopted a beautiful young girl who was born in St. Martin, but she lives now in New York, which I'm grateful. And she's married with a baby, but she's 36 now. So look how the time just goes. And I told my parents the other day, you build your legacy. My brother has 3 girls, 1 brother, the one on the radio and TV, and the other one has 2 sons. I have a dog. That's all I can have time for. I'm grateful, but I think I'm too vulnerable. I have a lot to offer, but I think I'm too busy being me and sharing me with other people, and I have no regrets. I had a lovely lady. This is talk about limiting beliefs. A lovely lady on the elevator in my building the other day tell me, oh, mashallah, mashallah, where you going? You always look so beautiful, Habibti. I said, I'm going to Fashion Week. Oh, mashallah, you look so beautiful. I never see you with anyone. You have children? I said, no. You have husband? I said, no. She said, oh, Habibti, I shall pray for you to have children and husband. I said, no, 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 please, no, it's okay.
Stop. I'm all right.
I said, it's okay, thank you. So
Not a
the thing is,
mistake.
yeah, it's their limiting beliefs, right? On culture, on what makes them happy. But what makes me happy is being me. Like I always say, I'm alone, but I'm not lonely. I tried the marriage thing. It's not for me. Wonderful, tall, Argentinian, but yeah, it wasn't for me. And then I was so much in my masculine side of being on boards and running the boards, and I wanted people to take me seriously. Now I've relaxed a lot more. I'm more in my femininity of who I am. I dressed very different then, like the what do you call pinstripe slacks and the Hermes belt and the loafers and cufflinks. Still wore my pearls, but more, I don't want to say manly, but more in control. Now I'm okay. I wear my dress. Because time goes on, and I'm much older now and I understand a lot more about life. There's a book called Passages by Gail Sheehy. And it talks about the different passages you take from 20s to 30s, 30s to 40s, 40s to 50s, 50s to 60s. I'm at that one, the last one right there. And how you think different and how you transition and what you think. And I know now, if you said, Liesa, well, what do you know? What do I know now? Is that the things that I used to stress about, it was going to happen anyway. Or the things that I was destined to have, it was destined to happen anyway. And that would be part of my message to some of your listeners that, what is your journey is already set. It's just for you to listen to the cues and go the path and be kind, be loving, be giving. I call it my PEF, my personal and energetic frequency. Clutter, your thoughts, think positive, because what you think is what you become, right? What you think is what you become. I'm great. I'm wonderful. I always tell people, Joe Dispenza says this, you take the less dominant hand and you brush your teeth in the morning because it switches your neural pathways, right? So it's hard because you have to think about it. And you say in that mirror, I'm beautiful. I'm healthy. I'm wealthy. I am timeless at every age, So henceforth, no Botox, no filler. This is what 60s look like, right? But look at your face. but but it's how you take care of you, It's a commitment for me every day to go to the gym. The only day I don't go is Wednesday because I'm here with you and I have an event that I'm speaking at. But that's the only day I don't. I'm in that gym every day. It's a commitment for myself. And then what you eat, eating clean, eating healthy. It's good to cheat, but eating fresh. I don't do gluten. I don't do dairy. I don't do meat. I don't do sugar.
Wow.
Henceforth, and I didn't work on no Botox yet, but maybe you won't see my expression. If I did, I'll be like, but I try to, my heart is clean. I wish everybody well. I don't want to talk about anybody. And I just want to live what I'm here for and the purpose and to give back and for people to listen to my word because it really is that easy. We put too much stress into thinking. The plants around you, if you look out the window, they're not stressing for water or stressing to grow. They know they're going to grow. The dogs, your pet, your cat, it's not stressing to be fed because it's going to be fed. We stress too much because we think too much. And sometimes we need to let go and surrender and just let the universe flow. How I met Raj, EHP. It's crazy. It's crazy. And this is how I say every day, God bless me and bless me indeed. Because that's the way it is in the Bible. Bless me and bless me indeed. You proclaim it. And I ask you to bring me people from the north, south, east, and west because my destiny makers are around me. Bring people to my business that need it. You proclaim it. If you don't proclaim it, doesn't know what to bring you. People sit around and say, oh, I'm waiting for a job. Well, what are you doing? What is your intention? And are you taking action? So even how I met this amazing CEO, I hope one day you would have him on. He's great. His daughter went to a dinner party. Friend of mine, 32 years, moved to Dubai right after me. And she said, my niece is coming, my nephew's future wife. And this beautiful girl walks in. She's amazing to interview, actually. Natasha Moore, Moor, Natasha Moore Cosmetics. She started from 5 years old, painting makeup on the M.E.D.I.A. And she now has her own brand in Sephora and all over the world. But she's a hustler, she gets it done. She gets in there. And this beautiful girl walked in and she said, yes, she's dating my nephew, blah, 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 in Curacao. I said, oh, my brother is the ambassador to the Curacao jazz festival. She goes, oh, who's your brother? I said, no, you don't know him. His name is G Money. She goes, I know G Money. She opens her phone and there they are in Bali. He was asked to do a 5-day wedding and she was asked to do all the makeup. Now, how serendipitous is that? We became fast friends. I send the brother picture to my brother. Yeah. I send the picture to my brother and he goes, yeah, that's Natasha. We're friends. She's delightful. She's smart. She's giving, loving, and she's been through her own journey, tough journey to get where she is today. But how funny. I said, come to dinner because my love language is cooking for people. I love dinner parties. As Major and I had restaurants. So we're sitting down and she says, what do you do? And I started explaining to her. And she said, you do the same thing as my dad. You should connect. And here we are, EHP.
Wow.
This is how serendipitous life is if you just open to receive and relax. And Les Brown, Les Brown, he always says to me, Lisa, when are you writing the book, Lisa? His daughter too. Lisa, where's the book? Where's the book? So I'm going to start working on the book because I keep getting messages that say, Lisa, work on the book.
Well, I'll tell you something. You've actually committed the ultimate sin. You do not mention writing a book and not commit to coming back on the Online Prosperity Show to launch it. So
I'll be happy to do that. I'll be happy to do that.
I like what you've been saying, and one thing that really resonated with me is you actually mentioned how your thoughts actually shape your reality. A lot of people try to just think, oh, woe is me, or this is happening to me, and things like that, and they don't actually take ownership or full responsibility of who they are or what's becoming of them. Can you maybe share a time when
Yes.
when you had a shift in your thinking that led
of
to
consciousness? I would tell you that happened for me. First of all, life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. And people have to realize that. That's number one. Number two, you are what you think you are. So if you think, I'm going to get this done and I'm going to do it, and it's going to happen for you. If you have those thoughts in the back of your head, which we have traumas, all of us have traumas from childhood. You're not good enough. It's not for you. You can't make it, whether it's teachers, parents, friends. I remember when told you I was the cashier and I became the manager, I was talking to the next cashier about my future life. And the lady online said, keep dreaming, honey. It's never going to happen for you. So I told her they're going to have a housekeeper. And then we were just talking. And this is limiting beliefs. Now, if I took that in, maybe I'd be somewhere else. And if my parents weren't my parents, maybe I'd be somewhere else. Because actually, souls pick their parents. I don't know if you know that. They also pick their brothers and sisters. So, because why? We have lessons to learn. I call them soul contracts. And my parents have lessons to learn from me. Vice versa, both ways, because your soul lives on, right? And then lessons you didn't learn, you learn in the next lifetime because you choose that. They're called soul contracts. I study metaphysics. So we are here for some reason. There is something greater than us. There's a reason we have life. And isn't it amazing when you're born how you take a breath to come in and you take a breath to go out? Isn't that funny? I don't know if you've ever seen when I saw my grandmother passed away. They take that last breath and then it's the same thing. We are here somehow from something greater than ourselves. Speaking about my conscious awareness, I was 33, and I don't know if you know anything about metaphysics or the Quran or the Bible or the Torah. Angels and Jesus is in everyone, even even in the Quran. They believe in Jesus. They believe in angels, everything, whether people believe it or not. Yes, I live in Dubai, so I can tell you it's 16 years. They just believe that Muhammad is the prophet that brought the message. But yes, Jesus is in there. The saints are in there. Angels are in there. The thing is, I didn't have, in those, Jesus died at 33. 33. So if you ever look at anyone around their 33rd year, either something traumatic always happens. Either they're giving birth, they have a change, a move, job, marriage, something. It's just metaphysically how the life is working. At 33, there's always something that's like the aha of the life. So at 33, one of my hotel guests was a Reiki master. She approached me at 30, I think it was. And she said, I want to teach you this. And I was like, And she said to me, you're not ready yet. I said, what? Not ready for what? She said, I'll come back to you. 3 years later, I was running for political office. I was running for Senate, federal government, parliamentary elections. And she saw me. She said, you're working so hard. You're doing the hotel. You're sitting on boards. She said, it's time. I said, huh? It's time. And she sat me down And she started explaining to me about Reiki, about energy. And at the same time, the assistant manager of my hotel, look how life is again. When she met me, how did I get there? Another moment. The person that was doing the accounting, because I have an accounting background also. I forgot to tell you that one. I also went on to get my accounting license. Back in the US, if you stagia, I don't say stagia, intern with someone that's in law or in accounting for a certain time, you take the test, you can get your certification. It's just you could take the bar exam or you could take the accounting. Anyway, I took the accounting, I got my license, diploma, whatever. So the hotel manager was looking for, of this particular hotel that I became the manager of, an accountant because the accountant was having ulcers and he needed someone to relieve them for a short time. Look how God does it. I was dating someone that was his friend. I said, could you go in? I know you're at another company, but can you go in and help? Sure. So I was finishing so fast that I was leaving after 2 or 3 hours. And the manager said to me, you leaving? I said, yeah, I'm done. She said, so fast? Yeah, cut New York speed, get it done. Get in there, get it.
It's done quickly, yeah.
Yeah, so she came after about 6 months and she said, I want to leave. And I know you have the Cornell background. She said, I would like to put you up with the owners of the company to be the manager. You see how God does things.
Just like that.
Just like that. Just like that. And I said, okay. And then the owners flew in from Florida. And they own different hotels in Florida and some cruise ships. They're Greek. And he met me. And the assistant manager said to the manager, I like this girl. She's very sweet, very nice. Should be nice. I don't mind her being, because the assistant manager was there from the beginning. She saw the building come up and everything. So all of this is so funny. I wound up getting the job after many interviews with other people because he said, you're not going to get this job right away. I just want you to know. And blah, blah, blah. And then they came back 2 days later. I like you. You have New York savvy, but you're from here. I don't have to pay for your visa. I don't have to pay for working papers. And I know you're going to stay here. And he said to me, guess what? You're going to be the manager, but this is not your end all. You're going to do more. I said, no, this is fine. I'm happy with the hotel. He said, no, you're not. He said, you're a Scorpio like me. You'll never be enough. I want you to do 3 things. Keep my guests happy. Keep my hotel looking nice, because I know you have interior design also. And he said, and God damn it, baby, you make me money. You can stay as long as you want. I wound up being there 17 years. But the funny thing is, started working, and about a year after I was manager, we had, Mardi Gras, Carnival. Yeah. So everybody goes to this carnival area. We eat, we enjoy the music. So the assistant manager, who I was working with now for a year, she was the one that also proposed I become the manager because she liked working with me. She saw me sitting next to my mom because my mom and dad had come down for Carnival from New York. Next day, she comes in my office. She says, she's Spanish, Dominican. Mommy, I saw this lady sitting with you. Who is this? That's my mom. She goes, I have a cousin just like her, and she has the same habit as your mom with the hair and doing this. And she said, but her name is Lucia, and she's from Staten Island. I said, my mother's Lucia. She's from Staten Island. It's my cousin, the assistant manager. She didn't see me since I was 10 years old. So she didn't know it was me. You see how life is? And wow. She is my backbone that taught me about prayer and faith. Even though I went to Catholic school and I went to church, she really was my guide, and this other lady, but she was there for every award, every ceremony, everything. She's my love of my loves. Every morning I still send her a good morning. But Myra, she's everything. And she and this other lady who's passed on now, they were the ones that brought my conscious awareness more forward instead of just going to church, kneeling, praying, Our Father, Hail Mary. You know what you learn in school.
Yeah, the usual.
They were the ones that brought me to the light that there's something more than just kneeling and going to church, and there's more. And she got me into this way of just meditating, praying, opening myself and seeing the miracles, because a lot of us forget to see the miracles every day. Now, when I look back, then I wasn't even seeing the miracles. Now I said, my God, I became the first woman in Tourism Hotel Association, the first woman Rotarian. Rotary didn't allow women until from 1905 to 1989. And I was chosen. And I sit with people like King Charles and what is this? Angela Merkel, Bill Gates. These are people that we sit and we make a decision And we believe in four things. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? And is it beneficial to all concerned? These are the things that we live by as Rotarians. And I'm sitting there now 32 years. It's a long time. I knew at 19, I went to an event and I said, wow, I like this. And look, there's Dr. So-and-so, and there's this lawyer, and they're giving back. And I just put the wish in my head at 19, and I was chosen at 26. And here I am now,
No,
all these years later.
absolutely. Now, Liesa, somebody might be listening to this and saying, oh, I can't be that accomplished. I can't be that connected. So that means all is lost, especially for me. For those that are struggling maybe with limiting beliefs, which is what a lot of people are facing right now, what will be the first step that you maybe suggest that they should take towards maybe transforming their mindset?
First thing I would say is find someone that you admire and that you like that's within your community, because sometimes it's hard to get someone at star status to be, I never miss a chance to help mentor someone, because mentoring is giving back. And I will tell you something, people that are at that level know what they did to get there. They're always there to help somebody else. First, find, I would say, a role model, someone that you can speak to and someone that can help you, because people are always willing to help. I'm always open to support somebody else because I know where I came from. So definitely mentor. There's so much online. There's so much, there are some people like, I love Mary Kate. Her name is Mary Kate. She's on YouTube. She's amazing. There are quite a few people. Andrea Schulman, she's another one. Gabby Bernstein, amazing person. She was addicted and on drugs, and she heard someone say to her, God, if you give all this up, I'll give you a life like you never saw. And how many books does she have? The Universe Has Your Back. She has so many amazing books, and she came from nothing in Manhattan, and she's a light worker. Because I like to call myself a light worker, not just with my job, but the way I help people. You need to help, support people, encourage them, because we're all from the same energy. We're all from the source. Anything is possible. You have people that were down in the ditches that were down to $1, and they've made something of themselves now, because just when you're in the end, I don't want to say God, but the universe delivers you, because the universe has your back, because everybody believes in something else. There is something greater than ourselves, just that we could sit here and breathe subconsciously. We're breathing and digesting without even thinking about it. There's something that's a miracle in all of us. Just so that we're born, we have our destiny. Everybody has it. Sometimes we lose sight of that because of, like you said, limiting beliefs, society, community. Some of us go to work and get there at 9:01 and leave at 4:59 for the last 30, 40 years, just going through the motions. There's more. Give back. Give to someone. I don't find, a moment not to make someone feel happy, not to make someone feel good. To me, it doesn't matter if it's the cleaner who just passed me now in the hotel. Good morning. How are you? How's everything? How's your family? I used to be on the board of our phone company. I remember at Christmas, they used to segregate us. The board is here and the people there. And I used to tell the managing director's gone now, but no, I'm not sitting there. I'm sitting with them. Why? Because I want to know how they are. I want to know how their family is. They're human. They work for us. We're the supervisory board, but how are we so grateful because the company's still running because of these people? I don't want to sit by ourselves segregated. I want to sit among the people. How's your baby? Is everything okay? Give that human touch and that human aspect. I still have staff that write me on Valentine's Day, Christmas, Easter, and say to the best boss I ever had, just because I empower. One of my staff, who's now manager of one of the restaurants, when I was leaving and I decided to close the restaurants, when I left to Dubai, people started calling me, can I have your staff? Can I have your staff? I said, wait. They're not indentured servants. They can pick for themselves, And they said, no. I said, why? And they said, you know why? Because you train and you have the best staff on the island. So one of my staff was just in my course in the Caribbean, and she was so happy. And I was telling everybody, she worked for me. And she said, yes. And she was telling me she's one of the best bosses because we want to empower them. What does empower mean? Show them the way, not say do that, and then you don't show them why. It's like there's an analogy. The hotel manager tells the staff after an event, Okay, clean up the room and move the chairs. But he didn't tell them to move the tables, so they left the tables there. Right? Tell them why. We need to clear the room because of this. This is part of what we train also. You have to go the next step because then people just take what you say linear. Tell them why so that the next time they repeat it, it's done because they know the why and they don't leave the table sitting without the chairs. Go the full way. So this is communication style. I even taught in the prison, my prison back home, on personality style because they weren't getting along with each other, even the prison guards. This is years ago. And I went up and I did a course on how do we communicate to each other? How do we get on with each other? Because if the inmates see that we're arguing, then what good is it for us as a team to be the guards and we're not getting along? So even I did in the prison, I didn't accept the money for that because for me, it was giving back to the community. And rightfully so, how kind were they? I had a schnauzer. I love schnauzers, the dogs. And when she passed away, they have a woodwork shop. They came, I don't know if you know, but when someone in your family in the military dies, they bring the flag and they come with the white gloves and the uniform. They came to the hotel like this.
Wow.
And my office is on the mezzanine level and they came with the cross with her name. And I was bawling like a baby. I was like, no, because they wanted to give back.
But that's the effect of what they wouldn't have done that to just anybody else or any.
Yes. Even I'll be honest with you, when I ran for a political election, we have different districts and even the prison is a voting district. I had votes. I was like, hey, I don't know anybody up there, but I'll take the votes.
But now, Liesa, I mean, obviously, you're traveling around and things of that nature, but you would have an internet, a home or place where if somebody really enjoyed watching you and listening to what you've got to say today, where would be the best place that people can get a hold of you?
Okay, so several things. There are, if you type in my name, there's several YouTubes. I'll be honest to you about this because I am old school. I'm from the 60s. So I'm getting there. I'm not the first to say I'm not IT savvy, but I have been called for a lot of interviews. So you can see some of my other interviews. If you just put my name in YouTube or you put it in Google, it comes up. I do have a website about manifesting also. So the EHP one is ehpinternational.com. And the other one is liesaeuton.com. My name, Liesa Euton, because I work with people to help them manifest. I work with clients. We also, besides communication style and skills and soft skills training, I even have here a local community that I work with. I have one lovely gentleman who, because you can marry more than one wife. He's only married two, but he's in stress right now. So I'm working with him. I have other clients I work with. I've been with the Olympic Committee and UAE Athletics for 14 years. So I work with the athletes to their mind to get that gold medal, see the vision, look forward. So I've worked with some of our athletes with that. I've been to 3 Olympics, 3 World Championships, lived a little time in China, Daegu, Korea, Russia, wherever we had to station ourselves. Yeah, I was there because I work with their mind and their mindset. So it's been a very interesting journey. But you can find me by just Googling my name. There's so many things. There's articles, magazines, YouTube, podcast, and my Instagram is my name, Liesa, Liesa 7878. So there's a lot on there from EHP and what we do, and also LinkedIn. So I think there's some social media. I have someone helping me because, like I said, I'm not afraid to say I'm from the 60s. So I'm trying to get up to the level of you guys. But what's funny? When your word is your word and you live clean, pure, and to get out, funny, it just comes to you. People like you just connected, and I'm so grateful that we did connect.
Absolutely. Well, the pleasure is all mine, and look what we created today.
Yes.
And it's really, really amazing. But it would be remiss for me to not ask you this, Liesa, as we wind this. When we first started this conversation, you introduced us to, I'm going to call her stubborn Liesa, who wouldn't sleep on anything else until she got the bed that she wanted. And if by any chance, this stubborn Liesa would have just maybe be scrolling through YouTube and comes across this sort of video, what sort of advice would you want to give her, knowing what you know about life and who you've become?
And that's what I was saying before. Sorry, and I got sidetracked because sometimes I receive messages, so I have to get the word out. Not to stress. Um, be who you. Okay, we're all put here to live a purpose. Live your purpose, because I always feel living your purpose becomes your passion, becomes your profit. You know, I have people that say, one of the kids just recently said to me, I want to be an artist, but my parents want me to be a doctor. And I said, but you need to be the artist because that's what was put in you. So all of us have this predetermined or destined future is to relax, listen. I think the prayer and meditation is a big thing. A lot of people don't do it. We move from the phone to the TV to the radio and you never stop to just listen. And I think sometimes we just need to, not even sometimes, all the time, just listen. When I drive now, I pretty much don't put on a radio because I like to think. And, a lot of us, I will say this, and I said this earlier, the day before yesterday at an event. When we're kids and you're sitting there and you're dreaming, and the teacher was the first thing she tells you, stop daydreaming. No, dream. Because when you dream, everything is possible, the visualization. And I meant to tell you earlier, journal. That's the other thing I would tell that Liesa. Journaling is everything. When you start to write down what we call the law of assumption, you assume it happened already. You start with the end. I'm so happy and grateful now that, because what happens is the universe hears that and says, oh, Liesa's saying, I'm so happy. And now that, let's say, I don't know, I have the apartment I want. But the universe likes specification. So you have to specify exactly what you want. Okay, we'll save that for another time. I have a friend that made her wish list of the husband she wanted. How it happened was so crazy. And she forgot to ask for height. So she got everything except the height. So be specific. Be specific.
You got the height with the Argentinian.
Yes, yeah. 2 meters, 6'6". But be specific on what you want. Act with intention, right? Feel good, because everything is frequency and vibration. When you write things down, you give yourself another 48% more chance of everything coming to you, because it's like you signed it on paper. This is so important. And you don't even imagine how many people don't journal. I didn't back then, but now actually I was afraid as a kid that if I wrote something, parents have a way of going and searching. So I was afraid that they'd find it, and not that I had anything bad to write, but now I journal. If I show you how many journals, I need a wagon, the kids' wagon to bring all the books out. Even since I came to Dubai, how many journals I have. I journal every day. And I would say 3 things you're grateful for before you go to bed. Write them down, because that gratitude it's the key to open the door to the miracles. When you're grateful, the universe says, wow, Prosper's grateful. Let's bring him more. So when you're grateful, it always brings more to you. Always. I swear this on my life. And journaling. Those are the 2 things I would tell that Liesa. Gratitude, and definitely journal. Write down what you want, but like it happened already, because the universe doesn't know if it has or it hasn't. So it's a play with the universe. Oh, she said it happened, so we have to bring it to her. I'm so happy and grateful that I don't know, I'm getting massage every week. For instance, I always tell people put small and big, salt and pepper it. 10 things. I always do this in conferences. I always make sure they have paper and pen. Write down 5 things you want, small, and 5 things big. Why? Because when you get the small things, it acts like a conductor for the big things. So the event I had last week, I said, how many of you were with me last year? They raised their hand. How many of you wrote on paper? Raise your hand. How many of you had almost all of them come true? Almost the whole audience. Once you write things down, you're proclaiming it. You proclaim, I proclaim, all my bills are paid, all my debts are cleared. I proclaim happiness, health, and abundance into my life. My destiny followers are around me. They're around me. They're coming from the north, south, east, and west. Bring them to me, God, because I don't have time, but I know you have time to find them for me. I say it every day. I am youthful and timeless at every age. I say it every day. I'm happy. I'm healthy. I am well. And anything that happens to me, I can handle. You're with me, God. That's it. Every day. I have stuff like everybody else. Stuff happens, but it's how you handle it. It's not how you fall. It's how you pick yourself back up, because that builds resistance and backbone, because what's coming for you is greater. So it's a test. Each time it's a test to get to the next one. It's that the ECG. It's a test. When you go down, you're going to come up. No, it'll always come up, but it's how you get the back up.
Absolutely. Now, Lisa, I was taught in my culture that if somebody gives you a hand, don't ask for the whole arm. And I feel like if we keep going right now, I'm literally taking, and not giving anything back. But I really appreciate the time that we spent on the
It was
call today.
amazing, amazing with you. I'm so grateful.
But it will also be remiss for me to not ask. I mean, we know where you've been, we know where you're at right now. What's next? Now that you've taken us on your journey, what are we
Mm.
supposed to be excited about that we can jump on board with, Lisa?
Two things. One is the book. I'm going to sit my tail down and get it done. So I always said, but I proclaim that many times. So I would say there's 3 volumes, and it's New York, St. Martin, Dubai. I've been proclaiming that forever. So I know that it's here and it's now. I need to just sit and start writing the bullet points and then start filling it in, because there's so much I want to tell people about life. It's really that easy, but we make it harder than it is. And any circumstance you're in, you can come out of. It's just being open to receive, because things are passing us all the time. We just need to connect with them. We need to align. And my job is to teach everybody how to align to get those things. So yeah, that's the book. And the other one is my dream is for St. Martin, my island, my home, that we have a certified EHP school of learning before you get your visa, your whatever, that everyone can go through the school, because our island is called a friendly island. Like Grenada is called the Spice Island. You have different names for each, and everybody says good morning. You'd be like surprised when you pass anybody. Good morning, 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 everywhere, you know? So I want the tourists that keep coming, which is amazing through hurricanes in and out. I want more people to come and feel the vibe of my beautiful island, but I also want us to be the top in service of all the 33 major islands. That's my dream for my beautiful island.
Absolutely. Well, those are grand ambitions, but I wouldn't think of anyone else more suitable to take on the world, so to speak, in the grand ambitions that you have. And
Well, a
speaking,
secret. I was approached, so let's see what happens from government. Let's see.
all right, even better, even better. If ever you're gonna need anyone to feed you grapes and fan you with
Oh,
feathers,
you would be
you know.
sitting next to me. What feeding grapes? You sit next to me, my brother. No, no, no. We don't do like this. Everyone shares part of the pot.
Absolutely. And you did
Mhm.
mention that obviously when you drive, you're not listening to anything. Maybe you could actually use that time instead of listening, but actually creating, and you can record yourself while you're talking. Nobody can hear you, and you can record your books while you're doing that. So half of
Yes.
that time could actually run
Yes, you're
for you.
so cool. And actually, funny you should say that there's an app called Tune. Everyone can use this to record themselves saying things. So when they're falling asleep, they can, I am wonderful. I am great. I am happy. I'm
Right.
healthy. I am well. I am blessed. You can listen to yourself, because there's nothing like listening to you. You can listen to others, but it's nothing like but listening to yourself. Yeah.
Absolutely. Wow, what an inspiring conversation, Lisa. Wow, and it's a good thing. Did we actually press record? Because if we didn't, then
If I might just say this, if anyone has any corporate or company that wants to speak to me about tailoring the needs for their company, I'm happy and open with us at EHP to work with them and to show you how we can make your company more profitable. It's the bottom line, and all the clients we do have, most of them are referrals. We're all the way in Maldives, even some of the most beautiful hotels. So please, doesn't matter what kind of company you are, we can help you get to the next level.
fantastic. Well, Lisa, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your incredible journey with us today. And for those that are watching, if you found value in Lisa's insights, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of the upcoming episodes. And obviously, reach out to Lisa, like she's mentioned. And I think LinkedIn will be the best place for you to find her the most, which is where I stumbled upon her and
Nothing's a coincidence, you know this, right?
Fantastic. And as she has said, if you know of a business or a company that might use their services, it will be a best place for you to, connect with her at EHP International so that they can help people do and have a happier existence. Until next time, keep building a business that is both profitable and enjoyable. I can't wait to see you on the next episode. Bye for now.